Hey there, and welcome back to Utility Sports. We kind of have some interesting news coming in about Paul George. He said that he wants to retire as an LA Clipper, which is kind of an interesting development considering the collapse of the Clippers last year. They had a 3-1 playoff lead on the Denver Nuggets, and obviously that all fell apart. He had some interesting news this week. He talked about the lack of adjustments with Doc Rivers, and he's kind of happy that it sounds like he's happy that Doc Rivers is gone. He didn't want to be used in a quote JJ Redick role or a Ray Allen like role. A lot of catch and shoot, a lot of pin downs, which we did see that quite a bit for Paul George in the playoffs. Obviously, he's a guy that needs the ball in his hands to get in rhythm. I think that for the LA Clippers to succeed, I think you need to have more of a split duty of the ball handling duties between Kawhi Leonard and Paul George for him to really be successful. And I think one of the biggest keys for him is getting to the rim. I think he's really effective when he gets to the rim, and he's an ultimate three-level scorer. He has a mid-range game. He can get to the rack and he can shoot the three ball. But if you're exclusively using him as a guy that's going to spot up in the corner, catch and shoot, that's not his game. That's not why you have Paul George on your team. You need to get him involved early. You need to get him the ball. Let him run some pick and roll, and he's an underrated playmaker. He can get other guys involved. He's got a lot of hate over the last couple of weeks for some of his comments that he said about, the lack of adjustments. And obviously he's kind of, sheltering some blame to Doc Rivers. Obviously he was part of the reason why they had a collapse too. And he also said in this interview with Matt Barnes is that a lot of the guys didn't really take it seriously. They thought, we're going to get the next game. We're going to get the next game. We're going to get the next game. But obviously that didn't happen, and they had the playoff collapse. So really interesting for Paul George coming out and saying this. I do think that it's really good for the Clipper franchise. Obviously, you gave up a ton to get Paul George, a ton of picks, pick swaps, and your Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's going to be, or already is, but will continue to get better, possibly an all-star in the future. We're not exactly sure where his career is going to go, but so far he's been a really bright young player in this league. But to give up all of that for Paul George, you would hope that he sticks around. Obviously, him and Kawhi are going to be free agents, and Paul George is definitely a guy that you want to keep around, and I think he's going to be an effective player for years to come. I think a lot of people have started to really, really underrate Paul George as a player, but for the Clippers, this is a big win. Steve Ballmer's vision of the Clippers having their own identity is starting to become true. They're going to be moving out of the Staples Center. They're going to be moving to Inglewood and having their own arena. So I think it's really big for the Clippers. You keep your two stars, right? You were able to get Kawhi Leonard. You were able to trade for Paul George. You had the assets to do so. Really impressive by the Clippers organization, being able to orchestrate some of the things that they did. If we go all the way back to the Tobias Harris deal that sent him to Philly, but they got that Miami pick that was supposed to be extremely valuable, and they were able to send that in the Paul George deal. They had some picks to work with. They've made winning moves, right? They go and get Marcus Morris last year. They're able to re-sign him. The big thing for the Clippers is they lost Montrezl Harrell to the city rival, the LA Lakers. So it's going to be an intense matchup this year. And I think a lot of people are really counting the Clippers out going into this upcoming season, considering their collapse that they had. Well, let's not forget that this was the ultimate team to beat before the year started last year. It didn't work out like that. But now we're going to have another season. I think if you have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, you have a chance in this league. You have, one of the best six men of all time in Lou Williams. You can argue that he is the best six man of all time. He is the all-time leader in points for six men. And he still has a lot of career yet to go. So he's just going to keep adding and adding and adding to those point totals. So he will be the number one guy, not even close. But for the Clippers, huge win here. Him saying that he wants to stay here, and obviously he's from California, and so is Kawhi Leonard. So it's going to be really, really interesting if they're able to keep Kawhi. I think they will. I don't think Kawhi Leonard would have left Toronto if he didn't have the vision of staying in LA. Obviously, there could be the chance that they jump to the LA Lakers, but I don't see a pathway where that really happens. I do think that they have a shot at making a title run this year, and Paul George is going to have to be a big part of that, and a lot has to happen with him and Ty Lue making some adjustments that Doc Rivers refused to make. So really big win for the Clippers here, and hopefully he stays true to his word, because there's been times where stars come out and say that they want to stay and then they bounce. So it's all going to depend on how the season goes. You got a lot of dogs in that locker room, so hopefully, people's egos don't get too big in that LA Clipper locker room. But we'll have to see as time goes on. I'm really excited for the LA Clippers upcoming season. And thanks again, everybody, for watching. Please subscribe if you did enjoy the video. Also leave a like, as your likes really mean a lot to us and show us that we're doing a good job on our content. So thank you and have a great rest of your day.